Man.
Breaking news.
An explosion on an oil drilling platform
In the Gulf of Mexico.
On April 20th, 2010, an explosion occurred on the Deepwater Horizon oil platform.
The worst oil spill in U.S. history.
Well, I remember that.
You could see that floating oil slick from space every day.
And what followed was millions of gallons of oil spilling uncontrollably into the ocean.
It is almost unthinkable, isn't it?
This is a battle we're waging against an oil spill that is assaulting our shores and our citizens.
This video tells the story of the race to stop that spill. How engineers tried to plug a hole over 5,000 feet
from
deep
opioid
underwater.
overdoses and
And
long-term addiction. This chat is weird, man.
I wanted to know just how much oil was actually lost in the disaster, and try different methods to better visualize the sheer amount of loss beyond just numbers alone. This is Deepwater Horizon Visualized. To visualize just how much oil was spilled, we first need some sort of measuring container. But ordinary containers won't do. So instead, we will be using the Empire State Building in New York City.
Oh, that's a good measure, yeah.
Theoretically, it can hold up to 277 million gallons of oil. But to start off, our container is empty as we look back to the evening of the disaster. On the evening of April 20th, 2010, everything still seems normal on Deepwater Horizon, with workers busy finishing up
Okay,
the
last pause.
borehole.
Bro, I'm getting bit by chat. There's no way, right? I don't hear anymore.
Instead, it is a drilling rig used on new sites. Its job is to create the initial borehole and install a wellhead on the sea floor. And once that is done, it'll move on and another platform will take over for the actual extraction of oil. The well itself is finished. The natural oil and gas reservoir has been reached. And all that's left to do now is create a seal so that Deepwater Horizon can finally leave, so that a smaller, less costly rig can take its place. For this transition, it is important that the well is completely closed off, and so the crew members are carrying out a test to make sure that the well is ready to be temporarily abandoned for the transition between rigs. But all of a sudden, the crew notices a huge spike in pressure readings. This is bad because it usually indicates that oil and gas has unexpectedly entered the well. The crew then runs the same pressure test again, but it is the same result. This is especially bad news for oil giant BP, considering it costs them more than $1 million a day to operate the rig. And at this point, Deepwater Horizon is already more than 6 weeks behind schedule
that's
to
nothing,
move to
what?
its next location. Economic pressures that may have resulted in a culture of negligence. Despite the alarming pressure readings, the crew decides to carry on. And then, just before 10 p.m., those still awake on board of Deepwater Horizon are shocked when a geyser of mud and seawater begins gushing out of the well and showering the rig. Before anyone can grasp what is even happening, the worst case scenario occurs. Oil and gas escapes from the wellhead and rushes up to the platform, where the gas explodes.
We're looking at new pictures from the scene. The Coast Guard says the explosion happened around 10 o'clock last night.
There's a desperate search in the Gulf of Mexico
for 11 people who were on a drilling platform when it exploded.
Of the 126 personnel initially on board of Deepwater Horizon, 115 are rescued, but 11 men are missing.
The rig is still burning out of control.
Jesus.
We have covered approximately 1,940 square miles of search area.
A desperate search is carried out for the missing men. But as the evening rolls over into the next day and the sun begins to rise, it isn't looking good. By day 3 of scouring the Gulf and still no sign of them, the search is called off. Tragically, all 11 men were presumed to be near the blast and were unable to escape in time.
That's awful.
The fate of Deepwater Horizon is looking just as grim. Emergency responders attempt to put out the blaze, but this is made complicated by its remote location in the Gulf of Mexico, as well as oil from the well continually fueling the fire.
How far is that, Chet, from the shore?
You cannot imagine how enormous this rig is anyway. It's the size of 2 or 3 football fields.
There is little anyone can realistically do, and any attempt to douse the enormous fire is in vain. And while creaking and groaning, the rig finally begins to tilt into the Gulf.
Yeah, I mean...
After 2 days of burning, it only takes minutes for Deepwater Horizon to slip beneath the water's surface and sink to the bottom of the sea.
I mean, that's good, right?
The fires come to an end, and yet it doesn't mark the end of the disaster. In fact, this was still just the beginning. Because deep down below, the well Deepwater Horizon had drilled is now leaking into the Gulf, starting to fill our measuring container with oil. Initially, BP reported that no oil was escaping into the sea, but this was corrected just a few days later when a new report came out that there was indeed a leak. As the extent of the spill became more apparent, BP began feeling the immense pressure to close the leak as soon as possible. And our first order of business is to send a remote-operated vehicle down to the well itself. This vehicle should provide answers and help them figure out where exactly the oil is leaking from.
Chat.
Everywhere.
Chat. Something I'm always confused about these oil spills. Isn't there like shouldn't there be a regulation that says that like you need to have an absolute kill switch, like something at the very bottom root of the well, whatever, and if all things are GG, whatever, some insane like end game, boom, and it's you can't do anything, boom, done. Oh, there's one.
Well drilled has a very large complex structure installed on the sea floor called a blowout preventer, or BOP for short.
Oh.
The drill pipe from the rig to the well must run through the BOP, which is a safeguard to prevent uncontrolled oil and gas from traveling up the drill pipe and to the rig. Essentially, the BOP is there to prevent exactly what happened here, a blowout. To do so, the BOP has 2 systems that can be used to close a well. Pipe rams, which are heavy metal blocks that can clamp together to stop the flow, and annular preventers that clamp together to stop the flow, and annular preventers that close the pipe using a rubber seal. And on the day of the accident, crew members on the Deepwater Horizon platform did actually deploy both systems within the BOP in an effort to close the well.
Okay.
However, because these systems were activated too late, they didn't work as intended. Oil and gas had already entered the pipe above the BOP, meaning there was nothing left to stop it from reaching the rig. In theory, this also should have been preventable, as there was one final failsafe within the BOP that should have been engaged to close the well: the blind shear ram. Once activated, the blind shear ram uses a sharp metal blade to cut the pipe and form a seal. Crew members later reported that they tried to activate the blind shear ram after the explosions, but because they had lost power, the switch didn't work. However, this also shouldn't have mattered, as the BOP is designed with a fail-safe mechanism to automatically engage the blind shear ram if it loses connection with the rig, such as in the case of a power outage. Why this didn't work is a mystery to the experts, and something the ROV will study. And once they are able to reach the BOP, a devastating sight is waiting for them. The crew sees that the...
So why is not like sensors, chat? Like if something is at a certain amount, it insta-close, or like, why isn't it like insta whatever? Why is it all done manually or some shit? Why is it not automatic shit?
Line shear ram did engage, but because the pipe had buckled, it did not cut the pipe as it should have. Rather, the ram punctured the pipe, thereby making things even worse and allowing a large volume of oil and gas to escape. Now aware of the full extent of the problem, it was time, thereby making things even worse and allowing a large volume of oil and gas to escape. Now aware of the full extent of the problem, it was time to come up with a plan. The pipe had buckled. Line shear ram did engage, but because the pipe had buckled, it did not cut the pipe as it should have. Rather, the ram punctured the pipe, thereby making things even worse and allowing a large volume of oil and gas to escape. Now aware of the full extent of the guaranteed way to permanently seal the well will be by drilling a completely new borehole that intersects with the existing one. That way, mud and cement can be pumped through the new entrance to seal the leak, eventually choking the flow of oil and gas.
Underwater operations take fucking forever. Like, doing this shit will take for fucking... I'm so confused. There's not a better way to do this shit?
The crew begins drilling this relief well 12 days after the explosion, and a week later they begin drilling a second one, just in case the first should fail. But this process will take months, and every day until then, the well will still be leaking, causing massive environmental damage, and filling up our container of the Empire State Building.
There's a better way to do this. There's a better way to do this. This is for sure. Definitely a better way. No way this is the only way to do it. A claw. Okay, a claw. Bam, bam, squeezes the thing. No, boom. No? Or another claw. It was underwater and bang, and severs it. Right, bang. Okay, okay. Next one. Next one, hold on. A tube that goes in and starts pumping fucking molten magma that will clog the hole.
Process will take months, and every day until then, the well will still be leaking, causing massive environmental damage, and filling up our container of the Empire State Building. Therefore, experts head to the drawing board to figure out alternative solutions that could lead to a faster result.
Yeah, see, they should call me.
With an idea. What if they could simply cover the leak with some sort of dome? A structure like that exists, and it is called the cofferdam.
Fair enough.
A large steel and concrete structure weighing nearly 100 metric tons. A solution that has never been tried before this deep. The cofferdam is designed with an opening on the side so that it can be lifted over the broken pipe.
So that was my idea with a claw, right? But the claw would actually cut it at the end. But it's fine.
On the walls of the cofferdam, there are 4 flaps. These are there in case the dam starts sinking into the ocean mud to prevent it from sinking too low. If everything goes to plan, most of the oil would rush up and flow through a pipe inserted into a smaller opening at the top of the dome. And from there, the oil would be directed up to a tanker ship. To turn this plan into reality, crew members are slowly getting to work lowering the cofferdam into the Gulf. But almost immediately, there is a problem. As the cofferdam descends into the colder, high-pressure depths, the gas escaping from the well reacts with the surrounding water and forms methane hydrates, essentially ice crystals that block the opening at the top of the dome.
Oh my god,
and
bro.
with the opening frozen off, the oil and gas inside the dome now has nowhere to escape, and therefore the entire cofferdam becomes dangerously buoyant. Almost like a balloon.
Okay, so nobody thought about this. Thousands of engineers worldwide, and nobody thinks about, dude, maybe some ice crystals will form. Oh my god, bruh.
Fills the cofferdam and makes it rush up back towards the surface. The crew members above are now staring down a potential disaster because as the cofferdam begins rushing up, it is heading straight towards one of the response vessels above. Thankfully, the crew is able to get it back under control, with enough time to direct the cofferdam away from the vessel. Nonetheless, they have to abandon the dam, which eventually sinks back down to the bottom of the ocean, where it will remain abandoned. With this attempt a bust, there's still no time for frustration, and the engineers immediately jump back to the drawing board. They come up with Plan C, the pipe. For this to work, they will attempt to siphon the oil and gas to a tanker, but this time without a cofferdam.
Oh,
Rather,
man.
they simply insert a smaller pipe into the broken well.
Okay, who came up with this? Okay, who came up with this? This is Brendan. Okay, chat. There's no shot. Who, at this point, just fucking get some straws and get people to come suck it up at this point. I mean, dude.
And this method actually works to a degree. The crew is able to start collecting some of the oil in a tank and flare the natural gas overboard by diverting it away from the ship and setting it ablaze. The oil flow is finally slowed down. Our measuring container is filling up slower now, but it is still steadily increasing as oil leaks out around the pipe. And so, experts move on yet again with their next idea. And they come up with their plan for the so-called junk shot. To do this, a very complex procedure is set up underwater near the well. And a new drilling vessel, the Q4000, is positioned above the leak site. Using this vessel's pipe, heavy drilling mud will be—
What I'm saying is that my magma idea is the same one that actually fucked their first idea. Where there was a bunch of ice, it can't go up. What if they did that with the magma instead and it blocked off the top of the pipe and the oil's not going nowhere anymore? Huh?
Pumped into the BOP, along with lots of different junk. This includes anything from golf balls to rubber tires or knotted rope. The idea is to use the weight of the mud and junk to force the oil back down into the well, so that in a second step, cement can be poured on top in order to create a seal.
It's kind of like stopping up a toilet. Plug up the...
No, say it one more time. I'm gonna say if it's dumb or smart.
Back down. The idea is to use the weight of the mud and junk to force the oil back down into the well, so that in a second step, cement can be poured on top in order to create a...
That's my magma idea!
...seal.
It's kind of like stopping up a toilet. Plug up the blowout preventer, and then at that point, once we get it plugged up, we can actually pump heavy fluids down the well and hopefully stop it from flowing and then pump cement after that.
With fingers crossed, crew members start the process. Mud and junk are shot into the damaged well, and using underwater cameras, crew members monitor the situation. But yet again, nothing goes to plan, as they watch the junk get spewed right back out. The pressure from the well is simply too high, meaning any material dumped on top is simply displaced by the gushing oil.
It's why I said magma, because at first, if you do it slowly, right? And you just keep adding more coat and more coat, it gets bigger, and then it actually seals. Yeah, if you put it all at once, it's gonna all get thrown out because of resistance or whatever the fuck. Yeah? No, dude, I'm telling you.
The crew attempts the junk shot several more times, but it is a futile effort. And experts warn that if they continue trying, it could lead to instability in the well, causing what's known as an underwater blowout. This would mean that oil may begin escaping not just from the well, but also from many points throughout the surrounding seafloor. If this happens, containment will be virtually impossible. And so they abandon the junk shot idea. And suddenly, it's back to square one yet again.
Cleanup is costing $6 million a day, and when it's all over, the price will be over $1 billion.
With the initial boreholes from Plan A still far from reaching their destination, the engineers decide to revisit the idea of a containment dome. Even though it didn't work with the original large cofferdam, this time they decide to go for a much smaller, better-fitting cap that could be installed directly onto the BOP. Rather than encasing the entire area with a large dome, they could direct the oil flow straight through this cap. But there is one issue. In order to do this, they will need to cut the damaged pipe that is still connected to the BOP. Up until this point, the kinks in the pipe have been helping to actually slow the rate of oil that is leaking out. And if it is cut off, the rate of oil escaping will likely increase by as much as 20%. It is an extremely risky move.
Chat, that's not risky to me. 20%, who gives a fuck about 20%? I thought it would be like 500%. 20%? Fuck this. Who gives a shit?
If this cap doesn't work, then they will have made the situation worse for nothing. But they have to try. The decision is made to cut the damaged pipe off from the BOP. Oil starts rushing out at a faster pace than ever before, and the clock is ticking. It takes several days to situate the new smaller cap on top of the BOP. Having learned from the freezing issues with the previous cofferdam, this time warm water is pumped down to hopefully prevent the formation of ice crystals. And as engineers watch the underwater vehicles at work, everyone holds their breath.
Oh, this is already shit.
With the cap in place, the oil starts to flow, and everyone sighs with relief as it actually works. The cap has created a seal and is collecting a large portion of the oil, sending it up to a collection ship on the surface. In fact, so much oil and gas are collected that several more vessels are added for storage and processing. But the work still isn't done. Even though this is the most progress experts have made in stemming the flow, they still aren't capturing all of the leak. And our container continues to fill, though at a slower rate. Throughout the next month, engineers are able to devise and install a series of better fitting caps, each one lowering the amount of oil escaping into the sea.
The story today is that they're going to literally put a new cap, a new top, that may not be the right nomenclature, on the well that's been leaking in the Gulf of Mexico for up to weeks and months or whatever.
Until finally, a tight enough cap is installed that is able to completely stop the oil from leaking for the first time in 3 months.
3 months, huh?
86 days after the initial explosion, the oil finally stops leaking into the ocean. However, tensions are still high, as there is no telling how long the temporary capping can hold for. Luckily though, it does hold for the time it is needed. And eventually, the first relief well reaches its destination, intersecting with the original well. Almost immediately, heavy mud and cement are now poured into the bottom of the well, and the news is delivered to the world that the well...
That's my shit. They're pumping magma into it now. Dude, chat, that's what I said.
Has officially been
permanently
sealed.
Oh man.
110 days after the whole ordeal began. In the end, approximately 134 million gallons of oil were lost in the Gulf of Mexico, filling our container to about 50%. And this is the figure prominently cited across a bunch of articles. And yet, this figure is only a conservative estimate of how much oil was truly spilled. A group of independent scientists and researchers came together with their own assessment, and they measured the flow of oil as seen from videos of the leak and calculated effects from pressure, temperature.
Now, every engineer that worked on these dumbass first ideas need to be serial fired. Just get him a job at the local fucking Home Depot. They can sell some fucking new pipes, or at the fucking plumbers. Not the big boy pipes. They can't mess with the big boy pipes. Make them go back to the small pipes, the small boy pipes. That's the only pipe they can handle. Like, this is crazy.
Many other factors. And according to their estimate, over 210 million gallons of oil were actually lost in the leak. A massive increase from the official calculation, now filling our container up to about 75%. And this is just the pure crude oil, though it is important to remember that every gallon of oil can coat huge areas of sea surface, as visible by this satellite image taken by NASA, showing the oil-covered sea in the Gulf of Mexico.
We found that the animals that lived in the nearshore environment had lower survival rates. We saw 900 plus dolphins strand or wash ashore, many of them dead.
BP has heavily contested this larger figure, claiming that it doesn't take into account the hundreds of thousands of gallons that were siphoned and collected before it could enter the Gulf's waters. Though it is also important to note that BP has a vested interest in keeping the figure as low as possible. In the end, it is impossible to know the true exact amount of how much oil was lost. But what we do know is that no matter which of the two figures you go with, Deepwater Horizon was the world's largest accidental spill to date, with irreparable damage done to the ecosystem and the loss of life of 11 men who were working on the platform when it exploded. Plugging a hole over 5,000 feet below the ocean was a massive challenge, but it's the kind...
Instead, you should do your part and you should be a good boy citizen and start drinking with a plastic, paper pipe, metal straw, paper straw. Be a good boy, man. This is whatever compared to the paper straw.
High-stakes problem
Efforts.
only the best
Let's keep it in
engineers
mind.
can
That's
solve.
saving the world, low-key.
And for my next video, I focused on a completely different kind of engineering marvel. One that happens much closer to the surface, on a racetrack. As for my upcoming video, I have animated an entire Formula One pit stop in order to understand how it's possible to change all 4 tires of a race car in just 2.5 seconds.
Very cool.
This video won't be on YouTube for another month, but you can already watch it right now if you have Nebula.
All of the ad play it's his video, so.
On Nebula, I not only post all my videos early, but I also post exclusive documentaries that are not available on YouTube. For example, I have made a full-length video about the fascinating construction of the Twin Towers, explaining the groundbreaking new methods used to build these iconic skyscrapers. The video is part of my Nebula original series Underexposure, in which I explore often overlooked aspects.
Good though, what is this?
If you want good pizza, come to St. Mark's. It's the best pizza. I'll be in any borough.
Is that hashtag ad?
Come to St. Mark's. I know about 2 boroughs, so they love me in there. I shop every day in there. I got 2 slices a day. Keep the doctor away, my guy.
Street food icons.
One thing a lot of people tell us is that when you walk into Two Bros, it's like a microcosm of New York in general. You can see homeless people to Wall Street bankers on the same line waiting for that same pizza. It's something that everyone can rely on at any time of their life, whatever the situation is. My name is Eli Halali.
Bro,
I'm one of the bros.
That's massive, what?
I'm one of the bros. We are the Two Bros.
Our pizza is by far the best quality pizza you could get, especially for $1. A lot of plain cheese slices, and then we do some topping slices.
The pizza at Two Bros is made from scratch every single day, hand tossed. You get it served hot and you get it served in a matter of seconds. People are very busy. They come outside for lunch. They have 5 minutes to figure out what they want to do. Here's a place where I'm getting a fresh hot slice within 9 seconds.
$1. That's our skill, is getting the people in and out, and that's what we're good at. And it's a science. It's something that we worked on for the last 10 years, perfecting.
We wanted to create a buzz when we opened, and we put this $1 special to start the business.
It was our marketing and PR, everything. We just said we're not going to spend the money on PR and stuff. We'll just give it away like this.
When we started, we put a sandwich board up, and we took a chalk marker, and we put pizza, $1. It didn't really create anything. No one was really walking in. No one really cared. 5 weeks into it, I would say, we came up with the idea of let's create like a $sign that we print in big bright red, and the next day from when we put that sign up, that was $1. It didn't really create anything. No one was really walking
and stuff. We'll just give it away like this.
When we started, we put a sandwich board up, and we took a chalk marker, and we put pizza, $1. It didn't really create anything. No one was really walking in. No one really cared. 5 weeks into it, I would say, we came up with the idea of let's create like a $sign that we print in big bright red, and the next day from when we put that sign up, everything changed. Like it was always busy.
You know, we used to see the same people 5-6 times a week.
And then we realized that the numbers were going to be able to work as long as we sold a certain amount of pizza. And we were like, you know, people now understand that this name is really connected to this dollar thing.
Because it's real, it's us, you know, it's who we are. We're two brothers, best friends that love pizza.
Cool.
Could you just get one cheese slice? Can I get a well done one? Yeah, that's perfect.
Well done?
Thanks so much. I'm Scott Wiener, and I'm a...
What kind of fucking hipster asked for pizza well done? Whoa, what the fuck is that?
a professional pizza enthusiast.
Professional? What?
Still too hot, 181. It's an infrared thermometer. So if it's over 170, that's where it'll burn your mouth. So I just got the cheese slice, the dollar slice. I mean, it tastes like dollar pizza. It tastes like, you know, roller rink, little league softball game, pizza on the side. You know, it's not pizza as a focus. It's like, you go here when you're hungry and you need something fast. Dollar slices, as a price point, is not a new thing. Obviously, pizza has been $1. And the last time it was $1 was probably in the late 80s. Pizza as a resurging force, as a dollar food, that really came on the rise right around the recession in 2008. 99-cent fresh pizza was the one that I always go to at the Port Authority. And then suddenly I saw...
He's one of those guys that knows so much that he knows nothing. And it's just annoying.
Two Bros was opening up. And then 99-cent fresh opened up more. And then now there's got to be $80 or $90 slice places around the city. The recession was really important for the dollar slice because you had a lot of people's careers changed around that time. And some of these dollar slice places come from that fallout.
When we started Two Bros, I was 24 and my brother was 23.
Babies.
We're not pizza men by trade, and we never were. We grew up in Brooklyn in a neighborhood with no basic. We both went
what's up with this chat? What is wrong with you guys? I see you guys in chat. What's up? Bro, is it Jew this, Jew that? Who the fuck cares? I don't give a fuck. Bro,
what a bozo. Pizza is pizza.
If this was a year ago, you wouldn't blink an eye about this shit. What the fuck does it matter? What about He's Jewish? I don't give a fuck. What the fuck do you care? Who said that? Boy, the chat was filled full of it. Just look at it. Just go back and look at it. It's just weird. I don't give a shit what the fuck he is.
School in New York, and we'd always be eating late night food, and somehow we'd always be drawn to pizza.
When a space became available, we started negotiating with the landlord. You know, we would Google like the type of things we would need to ask. All our savings were...
Stop triangulating your hate like towards Jews because of the current ongoings of Israel. It's fucking annoying. I hate reading it. It's just lame. Like, this is like a 6-year-old video of some random guy in the street eating a pizza. Like it matters what the fuck is going on in the world as he's less valid for it. It's just odd. Shut up. If anything, he's not valid because he's a fucking hipster cut lord. Not because he's a whatever.
Place at St. Mark's towards the end of 2007.
You can be verbally abusive if you want to. Just use the correct terms with a sucker and hit the correct places that are valid. Guys that got glasses like a fucking hipster pulls out a thermometer for eating a pizza. It's a fucking loser.
As tough as it gets. The issue with our business is that if you don't sell a certain amount, then you're dying. And the number really depends on, you know, what your occupancy cost and what and
that being said, that ranges around 45 to 50 cents. Of the actual cost of the slice.
Yeah, but that's before labor. And before
I get it. He's asking what it costs to make a slice.
Another misconception with dollar slice in general is like, yeah, the pizza's fake. The dough's frozen that they're buying from someone. The cheese is like a fake cheese. We're really using the highest end ingredients on our pizzas.
A big part of it is our buying power. We buy almost everything direct from the manufacturer. We don't have any middleman. Huge quantities, yeah. Trailers of cheese, you know, trailers of flour, trailers of cans of soda, everything in huge volume.
When your margins are razor thin, you know, every dollar counts.
I feel like when it comes to cheese, chat, I'm gonna be honest with you, a really good, nice Italian pizza, whatever, mozzarella, like bowl mozzarella, like a little ball, right, is as good as it gets. Anything else is just pizza cheese. It's kind of dog shit. Let's give it a buck. It's just shit.
Counts.
There's not much of a... It is what it is. I mean,
The speed of which a person gets in and
There's
out
no luxury there.
determines how much pizza we can sell. That's something that we train our pizza guys more than anything else.
The employees, they come into work at 7 a.m. The first thing they do is they start making a fresh dough for either the day or the next day, and then they make fresh sauce, and they'll be doing that for 3-4 hours before we even open for lunch. They know they gotta just keep making them as the people are coming, so they know when they're
Check,
gonna
you know,
get hit at
automate this
lunch,
problem
they
with
know when
AI
they're
and
gonna
bots
get the
and fucking
after-work
robot?
crowd. They know this stuff, and our people do a great job. You know, they really do.
You don't need gloves. You wash your hands once. You do this shit. The dough itself, I'm pretty sure, is bad to eat raw. It's bad. I think you can get salmonella or some shit like that, right? It's gonna get cooked out. If he had any other germ on his hands, it would get as cooked as much as the bad things that are in the dough in the first place. So who the fuck cares?
Part of the street, most people are taking that slice without a bag and just continuing to walk.
Best pizza topping is cheese.
I can definitely say this is better than like a $5 slice all over the world.
But a pizza isn't a pizza without the cheese, so it's not a topping. It's actually pepperoni. A nice, chill, a nice pepperoni.
Good, it's cheesy, it has the right amount of sauce, and it's never like hard, it's always doughy in the crust. And it's cheap, it's $1. Can't beat that.
Chicken on pizza is for cucks. You're a cuck lord. You have a chair. You like to watch. The topping is your want onto a pizza. It's not lord.
You.
Let's see. Okay.
Okay, jeg er live på min egen. Jeg går lige ind på din, Ronny.
Og du er live nu, kan vi se?
Ja, og du er også live. Det virker. Der, easy.
Holy shit.
Okay. Okay. Vi sætter det op.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, we're live in both chats now.
Okay. Like you were trying to set it up and suddenly we're just live.
Yeah.
Okay. How do I do this? Oh, I am live. Oh, God.
Okay.
Oh. Dude, they're spamming minus 30. Did you see both chats or is it your chat?
Yeah, there. Yeah, I see both. I see. I have yours open. This
Oh
one,
my
and
God.
I have the other one.
Jesus Christ. Yo, Wise, thanks for the prime.
Awesome.
Yo, guys.
We're live. We are out fishing. I'm together with Amanda.
And we are going to be doing some fishing today. We were talking about going out doing some fishing together. So now we're doing it.
Damn.
Oh, where is it? There. It stopped lagging. Oh.
It's not lagging anymore, is it?
What's up, guys?
Hello, hello. Wait, I gotta put a Dude, I should take my sock off. I think they can hear the
sock off?
Yeah, I think they can hear the what's it called? Pretty sure they can hear the wind.
They say it's good now. I don't know. How's the audio chat? Is the audio okay?
I think the audio's okay.
Should I ping the Discord? Yeah, audio is good. Okay, you can ping the Discord. Tell them we're live. We're fishing with Amanda. Yeah, just ping everybody. Okay, cool. Well, hi guys. This was a little bit of impromptu. We decided to, we were talking about going fishing, and now we're doing it. So, yeah.
I'll put this in real quick.
Saturday stream. I usually don't stream on Saturday, but he forced me to go live.
Oh, there.
Okay.
There, easy. I could actually get RuneScape on my phone and fish on in the game as well.
You can.
Yeah.
You double farm. That's all I was thinking.
Yeah. You're thinking about doing that.
Yeah, I was thinking about you could do it.
Oh shit.
Oh wait, chat's there.
This is a big ass rock.
Alright.
Dude, we're gonna try to fish for sturgeon.
I'll take my sock off and I'll put it over the mic.
Okay.
And they shouldn't hear the
You do know you can do a shared stream where it's one video output and merged chats. So are we not streaming together?
Now we need to stream together. We need to accept it on Twitter or Twitch. I mean. Oh wait, who's invited you to take a part in the stream? I think she's asking the wrong one because I have to wait.
I think it's that, no?
You think so?
Yeah, I think so.
But this is my phone. It goes on.
Can you do it on that one?
I don't think so.
Mamma mia.
What the? We're not brothers, brother. We're just from Denmark, both of us.
We all look the same.
Bro.
Wait, is it on now? Is it like? I don't know if we put a stream together. Is this stream together now? Chat or what? Why is it muted? It's not muted.
Okay. How do you fit?
It's kind of laggy. It will be lagging. That's just how it is. Audio is cutting. Yeah, but it's just IRL, dude.
Oh god. Touching grass? Yeah, we are. Wait, so we need to...
I could maybe bring it... I can try and like bring it closer or something like that. Maybe like the connection is better here. I don't know.
You think it's gonna change if we move it like half a meter?
I have no idea. We'll try.
Okay.
Can we have a combined stream and chat? We tried, but we don't know how to do it.
It takes my input from the PC, so it's like cam and such. Oh shit. Can't I just go to your channel? Hold on.
That's what I was thinking. You just like, but you can't do it on phone apparently.
Why?
But can you not? Is there not a non-phone link thing for phones, like not a mobile version?
That makes no sense.
Yeah, toggle is the desktop view. How do you do that? Maybe Anders can accept it on your PC? Wait.
What are you doing on your browser? Like the... Hold on.
Wait, you're stuck on the fin.
Oh shit. Oh, that's cool. Damn, look at that!
That's awesome.
That's so awesome. Holy
How
shit.
much XP do you get for one of those?
Damn. Okay. Come back here. It's actually insane, dude. Holy shit.
How much XP do you think you get for one of those?
I don't know a lot, man. That's like a bonus of... That's a big boy, dude. It's massive. Holy shit. Alright. Oh god. Firefly?
Fly. Some big fly. Dragonfly.
Dragonflies. Yeah.
Dragonfly. We're not allowed to keep the surgeon now.
Dude, I feel like my brain is not doing good at talking today.
We also just spoke Danish, so
we spoke Danish for like half an hour before we came here, so
yeah.
I'm not like in my cave, so like I feel out of place.
I'm put my phone down.
Okay. They're just spamming minus 35.
Oh, did you see that jump out there?
Yeah.
Holy. You think Chad saw it?
I don't know, maybe. Okay, next time we go fishing, we gotta bring like some seeds.
Seeds?
Yeah.
For like birds?
No, for like seeding.
Oh, yeah, seeds. Like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
My bad. Okay. We will catch a fish. Relax, okay? We have enough time.
Is it better just to let it sit, or do you want to like make it like nibble?
I actually don't know.
Like, what if you like reel it in a bit? Like you...
I think you want it to be a little bit. I think you want it to be a little bit tight.
Oh.
So you can feel.
Oh, I'm
Because as soon as they're sucking on it, you have to like pull hard to get it laced. You know?
You know better than I do, maybe. Yeah, you started before. Okay. Yeah, he knows, man. He's done it before.
It's true. You like give it a yank, and then it gets stuck in the mouth.
Oh, yeah. So if you feel it sucking, you yank it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Like a monkey.
A monkey?
Monkey madness?
I hope not, dude. I'd be scared if there was a monkey out here.
Yeah. Maybe reel it a little bit. I don't know.
Maybe.
Okay. Woo! Bro's out here in jeans. Dude, I swear, I thought it was gonna be really warm. When I left home, it was like super cloudy. And I was like, okay, it's gonna be really, really warm. Oh, cold, sorry. But it's not. So I have not quite dressed for the occasion.
One of us has to catch something today.
You want to sit on this? My ass.
That's too long. Oh, you put it in the middle. There.
Oh my god, well that's like kind of hot. You want to share the seat? Alright, nice Saturday though. Holy shit.
What the?
Oh, you saw that?
That was crazy.
Wait, that's on your rod though, no? Holy shit. Okay.
No, wait. I hope you guys saw that. That was crazy. That went straight up.
Yeah. Damn. Keep tension on the line. Okay, I'm gonna take advice from chat, because I think they know. There's two men with their rods out fishing. It's good times. There's also like a there's a little like food area down there where you can like buy stuff for the fish, and like you can also buy like toast and a bunch of different like little meals. Maybe we're gonna go get some snacks. Yeah.
I think they're active.
What?
We will take something.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. If one of them eat, I'll be scared. It's okay.
Oh, yeah, true. One bad bounce and it's gone. That's true. Oh wait, it's over sucking. Wait, shit. You want to jank it or? Oh, did it suck? No, dude, I think it ate it. Wait. No way. Really? Oh wait, hold up. I think it did. Yeah, it did. It doesn't weigh.
Jesus Christ.
Damn.
Holy shit. So bad for live? Cause like, dude, half this monitor is just filled with shit, dude. Can I remove it? No, I can hide chat. No, never mind, whatever. Okay. We're in zoo. Okay. Wait, can you see, there's a map over here, right? There it is. You can go into the enclosure. Look at this. The tigers are in here. Nice. Any cougars around? I don't know. We'll see. These are nice, right? How's the smell? It smells fine, huh? No, for the smell? No cougars right now. We only have one right here, look. Hey, come on. Come on. Wait, cougars are girls, right? What's a man cougar?
Jeg har lige et spørgsmål. Hvordan der er dødt dyr inde hos løverne, som hænger. Er det toss?
Nej, det tror jeg ikke.
Der er blod?
Jamen, det tror jeg ikke. Okay. An apex predator. Look. Oh my god. Look at the chat. It has cubs. The lions.
Yeah.
The big one. Dude, you can't even. Oh, you can. Look at this. You see that? So big. Damn. Do you think? Nah, dude, I can't hear. A real apex predator.
Hvad vil du have? Der er også churros.
Vi kan også spise nogle churros, skal vi ikke? At all. Fish and chips, dude. Brother, look at this. Fish and chips, 20 bucks, dude. 20 motherfucking bucks for wind. 3 The Primates World.
Primate.
Oh. Chat. Is that what they're called? Iguana? I think so. Dude, all of them are just chilling, dude. There's only one here? I think so. Can you hear? Hello? Okay, I know that. So I put the sock over the mic the next time I do it too. Okay.
Mener du?
Monkas, they're coming for us. I probably get banned for 2 weeks, yeah. Extra only got 1 day for running a red light. I'll probably get 2 weeks. Alright, we're going to Roskilde chat to pick up Pokemon cards. And then we'll go home and then we'll open them on stream, okay? And I'm not allowed to read chat while I'm driving, where I get banned. I probably get banned for 2 weeks, yeah. Extra only got 1 day for running a red light. I'll probably get 2 weeks, because you know why.
Så læser jeg. Ja. Dirty bums. Ja.
So, what did it say?
We can see emotes.
Oh,
no emote. Broke. Where are you going? We are picking Mandy's Pokemon cards. The new Team Rocket set.
Look in the mirrors. It's white.
What?
Yeah.
Times. Get into. Skal jeg komme ind?
Hvad? Nej, men hvad hvis han spørger mellem ting?
Så er jeg bare ud.
Ja, men det er jo sådan lidt dumt, at gå lige ud med dig.
Wow. Look. There's not many. Buy it, fuck no, too expensive.
Damn.
Pokemon, are you 12? No, he's 27. Almost 28. Pot friend. Why the no. No.
Downtown Tokyo, March 20th, 1995. Two men are driving to the subway station. Rush hour is about to start.
Is it good?
They make a pit stop at a convenience store. The driver buys 2 newspapers. The passenger, gloves, a knife, tape, and sandals. The passenger is dropped off in front of the station. His train is arriving shortly. He boards the front carriage, and after 3 stops, he takes a package out of his bag and drops it onto the floor.
What the fuck am I doing?
His umbrella and drives it into the package. A knife, tape, and sandals. The passenger is dropped off in front of the station. His train is arriving shortly. He boards the front carriage, and after 3 stops, he takes a package out of his bag and drops it onto the floor. It's wrapped in newspapers from the convenience store. He takes the sharpened tip of his umbrella and drives it into the package. A few more holes for good measure. The driver is waiting for him outside. He makes sure that any liquid left by the package is gone. The liquid the man just released on the Tokyo subway is over 900 milliliters of sarin, one of the deadliest nerve agents on the planet.
What?
On March 20th, 1995, at the package it onto the floor. He takes the sharpened tip of his umbrella and drives it into the package. a few more holes for good measure. The driver is waiting for him outside. He makes sure that any liquid left by the package is gone. The liquid the man just released on one of the deadly 5 at the height of morning rush hour, Tokyo was attacked. Emergency services overwhelmed. Hundreds of calls flood in. People are dying in the Tokyo subway. The man Ikuo Hayashi was one of 5. 5 people who released almost 5 liters of liquid sarin in the cramped and poorly ventilated compartments of 3 subway lines. Chiyoda, Hibiya, and Marunouchi. 3 lines that converge at a single point, the heart of Tokyo's government. It was an attack ordered by a blind, paranoid man. But it was a man with $1 billion, an arsenal of deadly chemical weapons, and hundreds of loyal followers willing to use them. He brainwashed thousands with a perverse system of spiritual superiority, with a final goal to save the world by ending it. This is the story of the Tokyo subway gas attack. This video was made possible by 80,000 Hours, and the research was done by Robert J. Lifton, Ian Reeder, Haruki Murakami, and countless others.
How a hacker saved the internet then? Well, there's no shot, but sure.
Andres is running some routine software tests. At first, everything looks pretty normal, but then he spots something. This peak here is not a typical CPU load. Not a huge problem, but it's annoying. Plus, he can't make sense of it right away. Little does Andres know that this is not just some random bug. It's a cleverly hidden backdoor, one that's been planted over years by hostile forces, possibly state-sponsored hackers. Now it's set to spread globally and give the perpetrators access to millions of servers around the world. To the systems of hospitals, companies, and entire governments. A master key to the internet and everything connected to it, right in the hands of criminals. Andres doesn't know about any of this yet, but he's about to literally save the internet. To understand this story, we first need to take a little detour into software engineering and a very particular little piece of code. A lot of software out there is company-owned, like Word, which belongs to Microsoft. Only Microsoft employees can tweak and further develop that software. But then there's software that is open source. It works kind of like Wikipedia. The source code is out in the open for anyone to see and use. Basically, anyone can contribute and suggest changes. That has led to the creation of many programs that are fundamental to our digital infrastructure. While anyone can pitch in on open source projects, there are usually a few people in charge. These so-called maintainers have the final say on the code and review any changes before they get implemented. Lasse Collin is one of these maintainers. He has been working for years on the Linux tool xzutils. Linux is the most widely used open source operating system in the world. You may not be running Linux directly on your own computer, but it powers most of the world's servers, mainframes, and every single one of the top 500 supercomputers. XZ is a data compression format included in pretty much all major Linux distributions. A Linux distribution is like a full package of all the essential programs your computer needs to run. Different distros are designed for different purposes. xzutils compresses and packages data so it can be transferred and stored faster. It's kind of like zip files.
Fair enough.
Collin developed the tool back in 2005. As its maintainer, he has been in charge of all changes to xzutils ever since. He reviews suggested edits and then approves them, or not. Once the approved changes are in place, a new version of xzutils can be included in Linux distros. But lately that process has hit a bit of a snag. 2 volunteer developers are not happy with how Collin has been handling his maintenance duties. They It's built to run. Different distros are designed for different purposes. xZutils compresses and packages data so it can be transferred and stored faster. It's kind of like zip files.
Fair enough.
Colin developed the tool back in 2005. As its maintainer, he has been in charge of all changes included in Linux distros. But lately, that process has hit a bit of a snag. 2 volunteer developers are not happy with how Colin has been handling his maintenance duties. They feel like he's way too slow in responding to change requests and messages. Dennis Enns is clearly frustrated when he asks for updates.
I asked a question here a week ago and have not heard back.
Jigar Kumar also seems fed up with how slow things are moving.
With your current rate, I very doubt to see 4.0 release this year. The only progress since April has been small changes to test code.
He even suggests that they might need a new maintainer.
Dennis, you are better off waiting until a new maintainer happens or fork yourself. Submitting patches here has no purpose these days. The current maintainer lost interest or doesn't care to maintain anymore.
Lasse Colin appears to be struggling with the workload. After all, his work on xZutils is just an unpaid hobby.
Guys, forking yourself means work on other projects at the same time. It's forking your attention to different projects. What?
But Ensign Kumar
work on other projects.
After all, his work on xZutils is just an unpaid hobby.
Guys, forking yourself means work on other projects at the same time. It's forking your attention to different projects. What?
But Ensign Kumar clearly wants someone who can dedicate more time to the project and respond faster to their suggestions. In response to Kumar's message, Colin writes,
I haven't lost interest, but my ability to care has been fairly limited.
How's that not true?
Mostly due to long-term mental health issues, but also due to some other things.
He also says,
recently, I've worked off-list a bit with Giatan on xZutils, and perhaps she will have a bigger role in the future. We'll see.
Giatan first pops up on the developer platform GitHub in January 2021.
Oh, hold on, go back. I was arguing with Chata.
Term mental health. Recently, I will in the future.
GitHub in January 2021. For over a year, she contributes to other projects. Then, in 2022, she starts submitting changes for xZutils. From that point on, she becomes a regular contributor. Tan is dedicated and polite. She writes friendly messages and helps out wherever she can.
Nice job to both of you for getting this feature as far as it is already. Let me know your thoughts on these patches when you have a chance. Is it good enough or did I add bad bugs? Just trying to do my part as a helper elf.
Maybe after getting all those annoyed messages from Enns and Kumar, Colin is just relieved to finally have some help. Someone to lighten the load and actively push the project.
Wait, what?
At one point, Colin explains that a maintainer needs the skills, time, and interest to really stay.
Wait, then why not hire one of the dudes in the first place?
Committed to the software.
Shrimp?
And Giatan seems to check all those boxes. Back then, Colin doesn't realize that something is seriously off about her.
Well, not hire, but you know what I mean, like hire as in promote or whatever.
This video, hopefully, offers a glance into the fascinating world of programming. If you're getting inspired by this story, why not learn more about the subject? Enter Brilliant. QR code or visit
Oh, I bought it. Thank you, man. I bought 6 of them. 6 copies. Hard copies.
She takes more and more control of the project over the course of the year. She starts editing xZutils on her own, and in March 2023, she changes the contact mail at OSFAS, a service that helps identify bugs in open source projects. From now on, security alerts are no longer sent to Colin, but exclusively to Tan. Shortly after, a new user named Hans Janssen submits a change request for xZ, and Tan approves it. 9 months later, March 2024, Janssen sends a message to the Debian project. Debian is a widespread Linux-based operating system known to be stable and secure. Janssen wants the Debian team to include a new version of xZutils in an upcoming Debian version, saying it will fix a specific bug. 2 other users chime in to praise the fix, Grigorin and Miso Eater. And when another user raises concerns, Grigorin is clearly annoyed and quickly shuts them down.
Instead of having a policy debate over who is proper to do this upload, can this just be fixed?
Shortly after, the Debian project integrates the new version of XZUtils into a preliminary version of their operating system.
So XZ is a one-person point-of-failure system, where if one person is corrupt, it's GG. And this system has two random users with a bunch of numbers in their names, valid for something, and some guy saying, fuck it, do it.
System called SID. Around the same time, Andres Freund is working as a developer at Microsoft. He has also been actively contributing to an open source project. He has just downloaded the latest version of SID to run some tests for his project. SID is not for public release and marked as unstable and insecure. Developers can test it for bugs before new features get officially integrated. And during his tests, Andres notices something strange.
Wait, hold on.
Tests for his project. SID is not for public release and marked as unstable and insecure. Developers can test it for bugs before new features get officially integrated. And during his tests, Andres notices something strange. Something is taking up way too many resources in SSH. SSH is used to remote access Linux machines. Why is SSH draining such a crazy amount of CPU? Something is off. He also notices a considerable drop in performance, a lag of 500 milliseconds. That's half a second.
That's
something
massive.
Nobody else would ever notice. But Andres does.
500!
So he takes a closer look at SSH and realizes that the delay is related to XZUtils. On many Linux distributions, SSH has a dependency on XZUtils. That means that certain XZ functions are invoked when SSH is executed. Andres digs deeper into XZUtils and discovers that someone has slipped in a malicious piece of code. And this code allows that someone to sneak into the system via SSH. It's a backdoor. This backdoor is so well hidden that no one caught it while reviewing and testing the code. A phenomenal, scary attack. But this disguise is slowing the malicious code down. And it's that exact delay that Andres Freund has noticed when starting SSH. On March 27, he sends an email to inform the Debian security team about his findings.
I wonder how many people actually tested this. How many people tested this? Is it dozens, hundreds, thousands? Couldn't be that many, right?
2 days later, he goes public. He publishes a post on Mastodon. The malicious code is hidden in two versions of XZUtils. And Andres also has a hunch as to who might have planted it. Jia Tan. She had secretly added the backdoor to a version of XZUtils just before Andres found it. When Andres makes his findings public, all hell breaks loose.
Did one guy just stop a huge cyber attack? This may be one of the biggest stories of this year.
Curiosity may have saved us from a devastating cyber attack.
The US Cyber Defense Agency issues an emergency security alert. Luckily, the tampered software hasn't spread far yet, but it has already infiltrated test versions of several major Linux distros.
Chad, this is the type of guy who uploads a video, right, about a fix for your problem that nobody in the world has, in a video that has like 4 views. 4 views, 1 like, 0 dislikes, and he has the exact fix for your shit.
It was just on the verge of massive deployment. An army of developers and cybersecurity experts jump into action. Within just a few hours, they build a fix to neutralize the backdoor. Had it actually made its way into the code of multiple operating systems, the consequences could have been catastrophic. The attackers could have gained unauthorized remote access to countless systems. It would have been the master key to hundreds of millions of computers and servers around the world. Linux operating systems are used in schools, universities, and hospitals. The White House, the House of Representatives, and the Senate all use Linux. In one fell swoop, the attackers could have taken down critical services across the globe. They could have spread malware or stolen sensitive information. There's no other way to put it. The world dodged a major bullet, thanks to Andres Freund, the silverback gorilla of nerds, the internet's final boss. The Microsoft developer is praised like a hero, and naturally his story becomes a meme. Microsoft developer is praised like a hero.
Random guy.
Random guy.
And naturally his story becomes...
My SSH runs 0.4 seconds slower.
It's a meme. Even Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella gives him a shout-out for his efforts. Everyone is relieved. Disaster has been averted. The shock is wearing off. But the real question remains. Who did this? Who is really behind Jia Tan?
We'll never know.
Andres Freund doesn't believe this was the work of just one person. He suspects Jia Tan had backup. These users are suspected of being involved. It looks like Enz and Kumar deliberately put pressure on Lasse Collin to clear the way for Jia Tan. Then Janssen, Grigorin and Mizuita pushed the update through. This whole attack was a masterclass in social engineering. That's when attackers manipulate people into doing something they shouldn't, like making you accidentally give up a password or holding a high-security door for someone who appears to be pregnant. The alleged group behind Jia Tan was insanely clever. Infiltrating XZ-utils took not only technical skill, but a ton of patience. Remember, Jia Tan spent an entire year building trust by contributing to other projects before even suggesting changes for XZ-utils. Then,
Dude, I feel like compromising some like super socially backed up fucking coding like a engineering autist is probably not that big of a deal.
Another 2 years passed before she slipped in the back door.
Some of these guys are probably not the
Experts
best like
think
social
this was
experts.
likely
It is what
the
it
work
is.
of state-sponsored hackers. But what state would that be?
What am I stupid? I'm sorry, it is what it is. Brother,
There's no
yeah,
trace
these guys are like
of
your
Jia Tan online.
everyday like
At
like
first
coder.
glance, Jia Chong Tan seems Chinese. The timing of the posts lines up with the UTC +8 time zone. But that might just be a smokescreen
what
to
is the
hide the
motor?
hacker's true identity and location. Would someone
Stop
who
it.
spends years crafting such an intricate plan, building trust and slowly gaining control, really leave such obvious breadcrumbs? Faking time zones isn't hard. What if the people behind Jia Tan simply changed the time zone on their computer to UTC +8 before each contribution? At least that's what an analysis of her account suggests. The same analysis shows that Jia Tan has worked through major Chinese holidays. That's weird. And it's even weirder that the account was silent on Christmas and New Year's, which are just regular business days in China. Plus, if Jia really lived in the UTC +8 time zone, she would have always been working through the night. The analysis suggests that Jia Tan might actually reside in Eastern Europe. There seem to be a couple of incidents where they forgot to forge the time zone. There were 3 commits made in UTC +2 and 6 in UTC +3. Now, if we assume Jia Tan lives in one of those time zones, she would have typically started working at 9 AM and clocked out by 5 PM. Sounds like a regular job. Experts believe Jia Tan's trail might actually lead to Russia. More specifically to APT-29, also known as Cozy Bear. This state-sponsored hacker group is famous for their sophisticated attacks. The style of the XZ-utils hack would fit right in with their usual playbook, but so far there's no solid proof. Open source obviously has its advantages.
Chat, what if these people, do legitimate contributions to various projects that can have a potential way in or potential connections, and they just do a bunch, they just work really hard, get a bunch of them, right, and invest little by little, and just kind of take one brick out.
But if this case proves anything, it's how vulnerable our digital infrastructure can be. We came way too close to a major meltdown. A lot of our critical infrastructure today relies on open source software, on programs that are often maintained solely by the passion and commitment of volunteers, by people who do this on the side as a hobby. People like Lasse Collin, who may get overwhelmed by the sheer scale of their projects. If we want our digital systems to be secure, we need to build the right structures as a society and support the open source community. The XZ-utils attack was insanely sophisticated, and we have to assume there are more of those to come. We can only hope that, when the time comes, the world will have another hero like Andre.
I disagree. Fuck them. Don't support them. Some things have to be free. You put money into this, it actually gets worse. I know. I get it. You must pay a developer or whatever. But then you think, who's paying them? How much are they paying them? Now, are they putting what they want in it by paying them? It gives a leverage to a party. When somebody has no leverage, is doing his thing, that's it. It remains. It has full integrity.
Freund ready
well, at
to
least
step up.
the best you could get. I missed the point? Okay, well. The product that companies use to make billions of dollars.
A chilly day in autumn.
What's bro yapping about now?
I know.
It's October 25th.
The kids went to see
a chilly day in autumn. John Brennan receives a weird phone call. It seems to be coming from a stranger. He hesitates a second, then picks up.
Hello?
John Brennan?
Who is this?
You're a f***ing loser.
If John Brennan hadn't been John Brennan, this might have looked like an ordinary prank call. But John Brennan happens to be one of the most powerful men on Earth, the head of the CIA.
Who is this? How did you get this number?
It was so f***ing easy, bro. You're such a d***.
What do you want?
I don't want anything. I already f***ing own you.
How much do you want?
We want $5 trillion.
The US government will classify this call as part of a larger conspiracy of identity theft, harassment of government officials, and cyber terrorism. The caller will pay a heavy price for this moment of trollish glory.
Why are you doing this?
We want you to stop bombing the Middle East.
Across the Atlantic, in a house in the West Midlands of England, a 15-year-old kid in his room, the phone still in his hand. He can't believe what he just did. He calls himself Kraka, and he loves to smoke weed. In fact, he's high right now. He's also the leader of Krakas with Attitude. He and his companions terrorized and embarrassed the US security apparatus to a near incomparable degree. They leaked the personal data of police officers, FBI agents, and DOJ officials. They hand-delivered top-secret documents to Julian Assange. Some of the most publicized hacktivism attributed to Anonymous.
They call themselves Anonymous.
Yeah, it was actually them. In part for the lulz. And this is their story.
This was political.
Teenager
Cyber attacks.
hijacked the computers of several US intelligence and
Did a
security
collective
Whoa!
with attitude.
Well, really, dude? You're gonna...
2008 in Virginia. A different kid, who only calls himself Default. He's a pretty typical American teenager. He loves soccer, video games, and his dog. He often clashes with his father, who works in the government. At some point, Default starts cheating in his video games. This gives him the first taste of using computers to do things that you're not supposed to. Exciting, powerful things. He starts learning all that he can about how computers work, and how to get them to bend to your will. 2008 was an exciting time to get into hacking. The decentralized hacktivist group, Anonymous, was in its heyday. If you managed to get into their secret chats, you got a front-seat view of their actions.
Anonymous is one of the biggest online vigilante groups. Members hack into companies and governments.
Now a worldwide and widely recognized hacking group.
Hackers with the group Anonymous.
Citizens of the world, we have seen the erosion of due process.
A cyber war. Anonymous.
Anonymous has struck again.
Young Default is fascinated. Anonymous embodies an exciting spirit of freedom through chaos. They showed how you could force the whole world to pay attention without you having to leave your bedroom. Some Anonymous actions are political, some are just trolling, and Default, after tasting this very new kind of power, is keen to learn everything he can about hacking. He starts to hack random websites just for the challenge of it, just to see if he can. But after hanging around Anonymous's chats for a while, he starts to find the group, well, cringe. For one thing, it's crawling with feds. People are getting arrested, and it's tough to know who to trust. Anonymous has become so big that vetting people becomes difficult. There's tons of infighting and doxing. Since it's the only hacktivist group most media outlets know about, Anonymous keeps getting credited for the work of other, often more sophisticated hackers. It's a mess. So Default gets involved with offshoot hacker groups, one of them called AnonSec. The group positions itself as anti-Anonymous. But similar to Anonymous, AnonSec performs operations, hacking initiatives that sometimes have a political purpose, and sometimes are just, as one might say in 2008, for the lulz. I hated recording that. AnonSec is quite advanced, and Default gets better and better at the game. The group controls a botnet. A botnet is essentially a large pack of infected computers under someone's control. You can use those computers to further spread malware across the internet to make the botnet larger and larger. Or you could, for example, attack a server with it in order to overload it. Default is tapping around AnonSec's botnet and gets curious about what computers they've actually gotten under their control. He finds that one is a server of the Canadian Medical School, Windsor University. Their control operation as sophisticated hacker groups sometimes have a political purpose, and sometimes are just, as one might say in 2008, for the lulz. Larger their control. He finds that one a botnet and gets Canadian Medical School, Windsor University. Suddenly, Default finds himself with direct access to the university's finances. He pulls up records of students who owe the school money. It all adds up to $9.4 million. And at the bottom of the list, something very tempting. A delete all button. How could he not push it?
Make sure that they have a rollback in.
These people might, really enjoy having their slate wiped clean, as it were. If you look, some of them owe a substantial amount of money, like $70,000. I think some people owed upwards of over $100,000. It's a lot of money, you know what I'm saying? It's just like perpetual debt that sometimes it just lasts for decades. So, just deleted everything. I went into the PHP shell and just sent everything to DevNull and just shredded it. So whatever I sent there is just not coming back.
This is from the podcast Darknet Diaries. They have a fantastic episode with Default. Of course, this story poses some questions. We tried asking the university if the debt stayed deleted. They did not answer, but usually student loans have multiple on and offline and offsite backups. There should be hard copies of the student's signed loan agreements. However, Default feels like he's really doing something at the time. There is a certain rush to committing a crime when it feels like doing the right thing. Other hackers might have used the sensitive student information to make a profit. There's actually a shadow industry worth billions surrounding our most sensitive data. So-called data brokers gather all the info available about us on the internet, your contact information, browsing history, and online transactions. This data is often bundled into shadow profiles, which are then being sold. You might receive a tailored mail or a robocall based on your shadow profile. In the worst case, someone might try to steal your identity. Cognito helps you remove your data from the numerous lists of data brokers. The only guarantee. Despite Incognito's effort, 60% discount on a one-year plan using the Trying Out Incognito. As recently as 2014, bestiality was legal in Denmark. Other European countries, Germany, the UK, Sweden, had recently banned it. What this meant for Denmark was an increase in animal sex tourism. For years, Danish animal rights activists tried to bring attention to this.
They called them dog brothels. So sick. It's so crazy. And I had a dog, so that really pissed me off just thinking about the fact, what if someone took my dog and that happened to my dog? I would freak out. Going on?
So, as Default describes it, he and other AnonSec hackers lend their technical skills to the animal rights movement.
So I think we took down the official Denmark government website, and then we actually defaced it, and said, did you know that your government allows bestiality? And there's bestiality dens where people can go and pay money to do these things to animals. And most of them are people's pets.
They shut down bestiality websites via DDoS attacks and tweet evidence of sexually mistreated animals. The information reverberates around the world and is widely condemned. Anonymous gets credit for AnonSec's actions, which deeply annoys Default. But it works. In part due to the hacks, more people know about Danish dog brothels. They talk about them online, protest them, until the case winds up in Parliament. In April 2015, Denmark finally bans bestiality.
Oh, dude. Really?
While Default is leveling up as a hacker, he also becomes an early adopter of crypto. He accumulates a significant amount of Bitcoin, more than 1,000. This would amount to a lot of money today, somewhere around $40 million US. He keeps these Bitcoins on a hard drive in his room. He also knows he's making powerful enemies, so he gets a bit paranoid, a bit fanatical with his OPSEC. He never logs into his own Wi-Fi, for one. He uses a satellite dish to log into a free Dairy Queen Wi-Fi half a mile away. He's always connecting through a Tor node. Every time he turns off his devices, he makes sure they're encrypted. When he turns them back on, he has to wait 30 minutes for them to decrypt. For the most part, he never tells anyone. Every time he turns off his device half a mile away, he's always connecting through a Tor node. Every time he turns off his devices, he makes sure they're encrypted. When he turns them back on, he has to wait 30 minutes for them to decrypt. For the most part, he never tells anybody what he is doing. He knows he has a lot to lose. Ultimately, it won't be enough.
Oh, hello?
Back in May 2013, a 29-year-old U.S. intelligence contractor also has a lot to lose. He has his own home in Honolulu, a loving girlfriend, and a salary of over $200,000 per year. But he's discovered a huge secret, and it's too big to keep. The U.S. government has the ability to spy on pretty much any man, woman, child on Earth who has come into contact with a computer. And this contractor, unwittingly, has helped make that technology possible. He's haunted by this information and horrified that his government is violating its public civil rights so egregiously. He knows that revealing this information to anyone, a lawyer, a judge, or even Congress, would be committing felonies so severe that he would spend a lifetime in prison, and it's of over too big to keep. The U.S. government has the ability to spy on pretty much any man, woman, child on Earth who has come into contact with a computer. And this contractor, unwittingly, has helped make that technology possible. He's haunted by this information and horrified that his government is violating its public civil rights so egregiously. He knows that revealing this information to anyone, a lawyer, a judge, or even Congress, would be committing felonies so severe that he would spend a lifetime in prison. He's worried he'll never see his family again, and he doesn't know what consequences they'll encounter if he blows the whistle. But he has to do it. He's been quietly collecting evidence of this secret for a while, and he's just downloaded the last documents. He tells his employer, the US government, that he needs a couple of weeks off to manage his epilepsy. This buys him a bit of time to leave the country without arousing suspicion. He chooses Hong Kong because he views it as a bastion of free speech. He believes it's one of the few places in the world that could, and would, protect him from the wrath of the US government. There he meets journalists Laura Poitras and Glenn Greenwald, and delivers evidence of what used to be waved off as a conspiracy theory. And so Edward Snowden becomes one of the most important whistleblowers of our modern time. Snowden's revelations scandalize the world and spark a long overdue debate about individual privacy versus national security. He inspires many young Americans like Default to take a good hard look at how their government functions. Default doesn't want to sit around and let surveillance happen to him. He wants high-ranking intelligence officials to know what it feels like to be spied upon, to have their private information stored and distributed, and to have it used against them. This is when he teams up with the Crackers with Attitude, founded by Kraka, the kid who's always high. Leicestershire, England, 2015. In a housing estate on the outskirts of a sleepy former mining town, there's not a lot to do except get high or go online. Leicestershire, England, 2015. In a housing estate on the outskirts of a sleepy former mining town, there's not a lot to do except get high or go online. In the case of 15-year-old Kraka, he spends his time doing both. He's angry about corruption, about surveillance, but in particular, about the US's involvement in the Middle East. He becomes especially focused on Palestine and sees the US as directly responsible for death and suffering in Gaza. He decides to do something about it.
This was political. We heard he was really angry about US foreign policy. So he started a collective called Crackers with Attitudes, and then he hacked into sensitive documents online.
One of his first victims is James Clapper, then the National Director of Intelligence of the Obama administration.
James Clapper? Surreal.
Clapper, one of the highest-ranking members of the intelligence community, had his phone number and address waiting to be found with just one Google search. This provides Kraka with enough information to hack into his email. He posts proof of it on Twitter, which catches Default's attention. Kraka then gets the phone calls to Clapper's house phone rerouted to the Free Palestine movement. Default tweets his respect to Kraka, and the two start chatting. Edward Snowden himself, to hacks, could be found with just one Google search. This provides Kraka with enough information to hack into his email. He posts proof of it on Twitter, which catches Default's attention. Kraken then gets the phone calls to Clapper's house phone rerouted to the Free Palestine movement. Default tweets his respect to Kraken, and the two start chatting. Edward Snowden himself has given James Clapper a very special shout-out in an interview with the German broadcaster ARD. Unfortunately, that interview was blocked from US and German television networks. Apparently, the video is immediately taken down every time it's posted on YouTube, so we'll only show the quotes visually.
I would say sort of the breaking point is seeing the Director of National Intelligence, James Clapper, directly lie under oath to Congress.
What we do not do is spy unlawfully on Americans, or for that matter, spy indiscriminately on the citizens of any country. We only spy for valid foreign intelligence purposes as authorized by law, with multiple layers of oversight to ensure we don't abuse our authorities.
Kraken and Default are livid. Kraken and other hackers loosely connected with CWA team up to target more high-ranking members of the intelligence community. They want to embarrass them and to show them that they aren't as powerful as they think they are. At the top of their list is John Brennan, head of the CIA. Brennan, like Clapper, has enough information online that he basically doxes himself. Kraken looks up his publicly posted phone number and finds out it's a Verizon number. He calls up Verizon's internal tech support and pretends to be an on-site technician who's having trouble helping a customer on site. Tech support asks Kraken for his employee code, and he just makes one up on the spot. It works. The support technician provides Kraken with access, and suddenly he has the account number, the PIN, and John Brennan's private email address. If you have just enough information on someone, pieced together from different sources, say their address and last 4 digits of their social security number, you can easily change the passwords on all kinds of accounts and take...
These days, chat, the hacking people do, that's like 99% of it, okay? The hackers, okay, they just fucking spam the fucking phone lines over and over again until they get a fucking, like, tier 1 doesn't employee, he doesn't follow his fucking protocol and just fucks it up. It's just what it is.
Take it over. And that's exactly what Kraken does with Brennan's AOL account. Once he's in the email account, Kraken gets Brennan's private cell number and shares it with Default. And so they start spam calling the director of the CIA, relentlessly calling him and his family.
I told him he was a piece of shit. Basically, like, y'all are awful people. Like, really. Like, you're not doing any net positive things for the world. You're just not.
John Brennan is freaked out. Sure, the calls are little more than a prank, but how could he know that? At the time, nobody knew who was behind the calls, or what their intentions were. Brennan has to lay low for a while in hiding, with extra security details for himself and his family. At the same time, Kraken's breach into Brennan's email gives him access to sensitive documents. Kraken first posts screenshots on Twitter, but then, egged on by Default, and maybe asking himself, what would Snowden do, he decides to hit up WikiLeaks. Julian Assange himself takes interest. He publishes the documents in October 2015. They include Brennan's 47-page SF-86 application, a sensitive form required for obtaining top-secret government security clearance. The form reveals his criminal history, psychological records, past drug abuse, and other details nobody would want about themselves online. Not only that, from Brennan's emails, WikiLeaks publishes Bush-era recommendations for how the presidency should operate in the Middle East. There's also an internal congressional correspondence from the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence.
I got one answer. That gives me to a hearing. Is this true? Boom. If I say yes, I get treason. If I say no, I'm lying under oath and I get perjury and contempt or whatever the fuck. Right? Now what?
That offered suggestions on how to make future interrogation methods, also known as torture, compliant and legal. The breach cost the agency $1.5 million in damages and relocation costs, as several operatives went into hiding before they knew that there was basically no threat level. Above all, it was widely embarrassing. Hacking into Brennan's email was laughably easy.
This is true, and it's true that you guys have actually broken into his private email account. How difficult would you say it is?
You mean out of 10?
Sure, out of 10.
1.
1.
There's a lot of, I guess, private information, really. He's pretty stupid, really. He's supposed to be so high in the government, like head of CIA, then he should be a bit more clever.
Can you give us any indication of your background? I mean, how old you are you in the United States? I mean, anything you can tell me about yourself?
Yeah, I'm still the age of 20 years old. I smoke pot. I live in America.
And you smoke pot.
Every day.
We wonder what John
This
Brennan
guy
must have
straight
thought while undoubtedly watching this in
420.
his relocation house. What fury must have built up
Blaze
inside him.
blaze it, and then the word, of course.
The CWA aren't done. They release more and more information. With control over Clapper's and other operatives' accounts, it's even easier to get people to give up
So you guys don't
information
remember that-
to in turn
that,
access
okay, forget
further
it.
accounts and
If
databases.
you know, you know.
They gain access to FBI's Deputy Director Mark Giuliano's account. There, they discover a database with personal information of 9,000 Department of Justice officials and 20,000 FBI agents. They post it. They then get access to the Justice Department's Joint Automated Booking System, which has records on all U.S. prisoners. They check out the records of fellow hackers like Jeremy Hammond and post those online as well. They wreak havoc and embarrass one institution after another. Did these kids really think that they were going to get away with it?
At the time, I really didn't care. I just like, that was towards the end of the run. It was just like, all bets are off. You know, I'd gone all the way down the rabbit hole. I just become very disillusioned with people's complacency and their lack of care for what was going on. So it's like, we're gonna bring attention to this with like chaos and mayhem.
Interesting, actually.
Kraka knows his actions have poked a very big bear. He knows there will be consequences. He just
Is
doesn't
that the
know
biggest
what
bear?
they'll exactly be.
I'm gonna go to Russia and chill with Snowden because I know that the government are pretty mad about this. I'm probably gonna get tortured. I'm actually a pretty fast runner.
Default is paranoid the whole time, constantly worried about his OPSEC. But he let his guard down. Default became involved with an ex-girlfriend of one of his friends. According to him, he asked his friend in advance if it's okay with him. The friend says, sure, go for it. He's way over. Default became involved with an ex-girlfriend of one of his friends. According to him, he asked his friend in advance if it's okay with him. The friend says, sure, go for it. He's way over it. But he isn't. Default and his friend are...
Chat, it's always the girls, chat, guys. I swear, chat, guys, I'm not, guys, listen. I'm not gonna sit here and say girls bad, but dude, it's always girls. It just, like, I don't know what else to tell you, chat. Like, guys, it's not that, like, the girls are bad, but at the same time, like, all the big empire builders, like, juices across the world, it's always a girl problem. Like, girls, please, man, can you fix your shit? I swear I will fix my shit if you fix your shit. That's a half subliminal message.
For the first time ever, being arrogant and cocky, it comes on the news, CIA director hacked, blah, 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 all this stuff. And I'm like, yeah, that was us, blah, blah. I was like,
damn.
And just totally, like, gave myself away.
He never thought his friend would do anything with that information. Hell, he didn't even think his friend would necessarily believe him. But today, Default is pretty sure this friend turned him in. When the FBI raids you, they don't knock politely. FBI agents enter Default's room just as his computer finishes decrypting. They are pointing assault rifles in his face. They drag him out of his room. Information. Hell.
Well, see ever.
Please, girls say,
but he isn't. It's okay with him. The friend says, sure, go for it. He's way over it. But he isn't.
Nah, but like Bill, go if you
drinking and
also that was a half subliminal message. Please get the car back.
Over Xbox Live.
Anyway,
I slip up for the first time ever. Being arrogant and cocky, it comes on the news, CIA director hacked, blah, 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 all this stuff. And I'm like, yeah, that was us, blah, blah. I was like drunk talking and just totally like gave myself away.
He never thought to leave him. But today, Default is pretty sure this knocked politely. FBI agents enter Default's room just as his computer finishes decrypting. They are pointing assault rifles in his face. They drag him out of his room, flash copy his hard drive before it re-encrypts, and seize all of his equipment. Default knows he's finished, but the worst part, watching the agents carry off his hard drive. The hard drive with nearly 1,000 Bitcoin. He blacks out.
Chat, I feel like
Kraka, too, gets ready.
you'd wear like a necklace or whatever, like some iced out shit, right? And it has like a old people like at fault that can't get up there, like life alert, and you just go boom, and it just fries your shit. Like it either re-encrypts or it just fries all your shit. It's a code. All the things that you do have out there that you code with it, right? They just all go down. You go boom, sup, bitch ass.
By the British police forces, and his computers are confiscated.
It also
One other
has all your
CWA
Bitcoin.
member gets arrested in the US, and 3 more in the UK.
And poison, it kills you.
Since Krakow was underage and in the United Kingdom, he got a lenient sentence. He spent 2 years in a juvenile detention center. He was the first minor in the UK to be imprisoned for hacking. Today, he's keeping his head down and is done with crime. He just wants to make a career in cybersecurity and move on with his life. He did not want to give us an interview. Default, even though he was less involved, paid a much higher price. He went straight to federal prison with a 5-year sentence. He had to pay $145,000 in restitution, and due to COVID regulations, spent a significant amount of that time in solitary confinement. While pleading in court, he said, "I thought what I was doing was right in terms of political justice, but 2 years later, I realized I was completely wrong."
I mean, that's just part of the
Snowden,
deal.
too, didn't have a relaxed time fighting asylum in Russia. Shortly after his leak, intelligence officials publicly fantasized about killing him. Whether you're a principled whistleblower who truly understands the significance of what you're leaking, or a stone teen furious at the world's injustice,
Just part of the
Snowden,
deal.
too, didn't have a relaxed time fighting asylum in Russia. Shortly after his leak, intelligence officials publicly fantasized about killing him. Whether you're a principled whistleblower who truly understands the significance of what you're leaking, or a stone teen furious at the world's injustices, messing with the US government will change the course of your life forever. So make sure it's worth it. In December 2023, the Biden administration renewed a very controversial surveillance program. The act allows the administration to spy on anyone in the world without warrant, including its own citizens. It includes a vast database of electronic communications. The act allows the administration to spy on anyone in the world without warrant, including its own citizens. It includes a vast database of electronic communications. It's supposed to be accessed only when there's a legitimate reason to believe it will assist intelligence operations. But a US court ruling in 2023 found that the FBI has already misused this database 278,000 times. Unlawful searches were particularly rampant between 2016 and 2020. They've snooped in the private communications of donors to various congressional candidates. They've been watching suspected January 6 rioters, and they've also been surveilling Black Lives Matter protesters. Maybe they're even surveilling us.
So what? So what? So what? So what? So what? I go on the internet, okay, and I Google like symptoms for things that I don't fucking have or some shit. Okay, I have some pictures that might be odd, like maybe.
I want to go in, but he told me not to. But it's a cool stove.